BYU TV reached 55 million homes over the air, not to mention globally online. That's reaching a lot of people.
It's more than you think, right? Which introduces our next guest, the boss here. He's our boss, BYUtv Sports Senior Coordinating Producer Mikel Miner. Welcome to the show, Mikel.
Thanks. I feel like I work here.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We've never had you on the show, so here we are. And we wanted to bring you on because there are questions, and you did an article with SB Nation, with Matt Brown, about this subject. But how BYUtv would interact with the Big 12 if BYU was in that conference? That's a loaded question. We'll dive into some specifics, but how would that interaction work with the Big 12?
I think it would work better than a lot of people are giving it credit for. I think people look at BYUtv as an entity like ESPN, but it's not, because BYUtv, first of all, is not 24/7 sports. We have robust programming beyond sports. Sports is a lot of what we do, but we have other original programming. But the biggest thing is we're nonprofit. And all of those other entities, it's all about the dollar. They want to make money off their commercial sales. We don't do that. That's not what our model is about. Our model is about coverage for our primary stakeholder, which is BYU.
How do the football TV rights work now versus, say, what's going on in the Big 12?
Well, you have tiered broadcast rights, and that's what really drives everything. It's all about the rights and the money and the revenue attached to the rights. And so you have tiered rights. Right now, the Big 12 has ESPN as its primary rights holder, Fox as its secondary or second-tier rights holder, and then beyond that, you've got the Longhorn Network, which comes in and takes part of their inventory and does a lot of Olympic sports for the University of Texas. And that's where I see BYU TV as a similarity, although the Longhorn Network is an ESPN property. It's commercial. And so they're, again, in it for revenue. BYUtv is not in it for revenue, and so that's where I see BYUtv really as an asset more than a conflict in this expansion discussion.
Mikel Miner, Senior Coordinating Producer for BYUtv Sports, is on BYU Sports Nation. So let's say BYU gets invited to the Big 12. They're in. You mentioned ESPN and Fox. So BYU has 6 home games. In theory, how would that work with BYUtv, and how would that maybe change things, if at all?
I really don't think it changes a lot, because we already acquiesce to a primary broadcaster, which is ESPN. On football especially, ESPN comes in and takes, all but one game by contract. And so we work very well with ESPN. We work side by side with them. In fact, we enhance their broadcasts when they come to Provo by giving them 5 camera positions that they don't normally have. And I think that's how we can be an asset to the Big 12. Now, I know they're talking that they're not going to immediately do a conference network, but since we have these robust facilities, since we have been doing this for a long time, since we do have that digital platform that goes worldwide that you were talking about, we automatically provide some assets, again, to the conference that allows them to, okay, if we want to be more present online, here's somebody that already knows how to do that. If we need somebody to help enhance us when we come to Provo and broadcast games and provide us with extra camera positions or resources like facilities and crew, we're here. We're ready to help.
There are a lot of regional sports networks out there, and for those that may not necessarily know, how is BYUtv different from those regional sports networks?
Well, we're not regional. We're national, as you said in the stat of the day. We go to over 55 million homes over the air, but where our real juice is, I think, is BYUtv has a legitimate, or BYU, I should say, has a legitimate worldwide following. A great example of that is a couple of years ago when we went to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, of all places, to play Middle Tennessee State. And we were doing the Countdown to Kickoff show, our pregame show. And we got an invitation for Spencer to go over and speak to a group of alumni. And I'm thinking, there's probably going to be 150, 200, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 5,300 people were there. It was a home game for BYU. And they treated Spencer like a rock star. And so
they always do.
Yeah, and I think that's the validation of what BYUtv is. It has reached to a national fan base that has a huge appetite for this product. And I think that can play really well within a conference because we can do heavy lifting beyond the revenue sports like football and men's basketball. We can do a lot of what we're already doing, which is shoulder programming like this and Olympic sports.
Yeah, so help me understand this too. So primary rights holders would come in football, ESPN and Fox, and then I think in basketball it's ESPN for the Big 12, right?
Yep.
They get first pick, and then whatever they don't do would go to the next tier, and that's where potentially BYUtv would come in and say, okay, we'll do whatever isn't done by the primary rights holders. Is that how it works?
Right. Which is
same with Olympic sports.
Yeah, which is exactly what's happening right now. Even with the WCC. WCC launched its own TV network, the WTV. We work very well with that. We don't have any problems with it. In fact, we collaborate with the WCC. So again, you ask what would be the huge paradigm shift. I don't think there is a huge paradigm shift. I think we would fold very nicely into this because there's not a competitive element. We are a resource for the university. We're owned and operated by Brigham Young University. And so, of course, we're going to do whatever our bosses over in the administration building and our big bosses up at the building in Salt Lake tell us that we should do. But what we provide is a huge resource that has a lot of experience doing high quality television.
Thanks for clearing some of that up. We appreciate you coming down from the second floor to the first floor.
Thanks. It was really a chore.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.